Let's check this video out, chat. Can we get some SOD hype in the chat? Ladies and gentlemen, Season of Discovery has been delayed. For me personally, I think it's a good thing because we have Mob Remix, Kata Remix, Season 4. But for the people that play SOD religiously, it's gonna suck because, yeah, Phase 3 is not that popular. Let's check it out, shall we? SOD did a cover of it.
After what feels like forever, we're finally receiving some pretty massive news about Phase 4 in Season of Discovery.
His background
with
looks
the WoW team
cool.
being focused on Mists of Pandaria, Cataclysm Classic, and the upcoming expansion for retail, it feels like SOD has just been left in the dust lately, and it's not really a secret that a lot of people have found Phase 3 the most lackluster. A lot of people are frustrated with the game, and one of the major qualms players have is from the loot in Sunken Temple. Another qualm is class tuning, and as well as just kind of people don't feel like there's enough to do right now. So Blizzard has finally addressed quite a bit of this, but in a kind of roundabout way. For me, it's huge news because of the implications, but it could seem like Blizzard's saying a whole lot of nothing. So let's break down what they said right now. Essentially, the first thing they talk about is Phase 4 announcement, and we do not get a new release date of Phase 4. You are not getting a release date, not yet at least, although Blizzard does say that they want to let Cataclysm breathe. Essentially, this just means it's not gonna be released within the next week, maybe not even the next 2 weeks of Cataclysm launch. And this is because they also want to make sure that Phase 4 launches in the best state it possibly can be. And the big reasoning there is that they are actually going to release a PTR for Phase 4. I think this is one of the hugest parts of this entire announcement because they want to make sure that level 60 content comes out correctly, meaning class
honestly,
tuning.
if they're delaying, I think that's totally fine, right? If they're trying to make something really good and they're delaying it, I respect that. At the same time, PTR has like two sides to it. It's good that we're getting the test so that it comes out smooth with less errors. But if we do that, you know, it's kind of like playing beta. If you play beta and then the expansion comes out, you already played the beta. It's just not as hype when you're playing it, right? Yeah. We'll see, man. Also, I think the raid's fine. It's just not a lot to do outside of the raid. So we just raid log, right?
Specifically, they did mention that there's going to be
just don't play PTR. That's true, but yeah, it's just everything's gonna be out there, so
works of classes, saying that they're heavily invested in class adjustments going into Phase 4. And the goal isn't to be a perfectly balanced system. We're not going to see all of the classes basically looking even in PvE and PvP situations, whereas at the 95th percentile, it's kind of a little bit close. Shamans and warriors at the top, and at the top, obviously, it's warriors just absolutely dominating completely. I don't think...
Wasn't there a video of warriors complaining, and I was like, dude, warriors are fine, and they're all mad like warriors are not that good.
Any of these classes will be reworked too much, although warriors might see a nerf as well as shamans, but it looks like they're mostly going to retune some of the really poorly performing classes and maybe completely rework how those classes work. That means all casters will probably receive a PvE buff. Not only this, but there's one later for this phase. Get ready for all casters to get buffed, and we'll get to that in a second. But Shadow Priests, Boomkins, and Warlocks will probably see quite a significant rework coming into level 60, and we will be able to test these out on the PTR. We will have hopefully the new runes as well as apparently some of the new tier sets to test out the new tier set bonuses. We will not be able to test out new content, but they did say that we will be able to test out battlegrounds and some of the raids, content, not the entirety, but we'll probably be able to test out the first couple bosses of Molten Core and be able to figure out what these characters will look like and what everything will really do at level 60. If your class gets reworked, of course I'll cover that, but hopefully there's some completely new aspects that make these classes a lot more viable while not making them absolutely broken in one other respect of the game. That's because notoriously, if something is busted in PvP, it is usually kind of doo-doo water in PvE right now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
mostly looking at Shadow Priests and Boomkins, who really got the short end of the stick because they were so strong and dominant in PvP that they were kind of completely forgotten about in raid content. Now I would expect this phase 4 PTR to be relatively soon. They haven't announced when it will be, but I would definitely expect to be creating your template character and testing new things out at level 60, hopefully very soon. Now they did also talk about the level 60 content phases. And it kind of feels like level 60 is going to be really quick. I kind of hoped it would all be different phases, and they did mention that all of the raids will come out like they did originally, like basically they did in Classic. So the first tier will be Molten Core and Onyxia only, but then only a few weeks after that we will be seeing Blackwing Lair. Then following that, of course, we get ZG, and they did mention that there will be some additional content and surprises added in between the major raid releases. So the future raids, obviously, that we kind of got teased early on, Karazhan Crypts, Scarlet Monastery, or the Scarlet Crusade raid, and whatever else they have in store for us, you can just expect to see it during the level 60 phases, but again, not in the PTR. But one of the biggest issues almost every player has right now, mainly casters, is that the Sunken Temple raid loot feels a little bit lackluster. Well, maybe that's kind of an understatement. Things like getting the epic ring, the new epic ring from the quest item from the raid that's giving you 15 spell damage, or the new PvP epic ring for mages that's giving you 17 fire damage, only being...
But they did this because they made the gear so strong in BFD, and then going forward into Nomargon, and then they're like, okay, we gotta slow down because these guys are doing more DPS than players usually did at level 60, right? So I think they were trying to like make the upgrades tiny, but that's not satisfying for the players, right? Because they wanted the big numbers.
1 fire damage more than what you got at level 40. That was a huge issue for a lot of players. You're going into this new raid and spending all your time in there and only getting loot that increases your damage by like 1 to 5. And it makes sense when you think about the fact that they really didn't know how much they were going to be tuning up level 60 gear, because Season of Discovery is happening as we're playing it. They're literally developing it as we play it, so they didn't want to make the new gear too overpowered, which kind of meant they shot things a little short and made the gear a little bit too underpowered for casters. So they have said now that they've built out the level 60 gear, at least the tier 1 item sets, they do know that they can buff all of the gear for, or at least most of the gear for casters in Sunken Temple. And this should be coming very soon. So expect in the next week or 2 weeks to see your Sunken Temple loot be a lot better. This also means that there's some pieces that drop that you might want to hold on to. Ones that might not be your best in slot, but could get buffed inadvertently in a way that makes them your best item. Just wait for that, but this is really exciting. Hopefully this will bring some people back. But on top of that, mostly right now, you're waiting for phase 4. So again, this is a post chock full of a lot of information and a little information all at the same time, saying that a lot of things are coming, but nothing specifically right now. I'm pretty excited about this, to be brutally honest. I think that SOD is in this stagnant place right now, and we all know that, but it also feels like Cataclysm is more fun than I anticipated, and Mop Remix has actually been a blast. So there's a lot of ways to enjoy WoW right now, but I'm really looking forward to phase 4, and hopefully we will have the...
Once phase 4 comes out, people will come back, man. Every like new expansion or new patch, people get excited. There's ups and downs. I always talk about this. Like, Kata's gonna be really good, but that's gonna have its downtime. So in the downtime, you go play SOD or retail or whatever you want, right? Every expansion, every new patch has its ups and downs. It's like super fun at the start, but then it gets stale, you raid log. It's normal. I played this game so long to know it.
PTR soon, so we can test everything and get all of the new reworks of all the classes out to you guys and see what works, what doesn't work. I'm sure something's gonna be like insanely busted. Somehow Hunter is gonna be too strong and need to get nerfed.
He's Hunter main chat. Here you guys go. That was a good cover on that. Shared the video with the boys. Thanks for covering, sir. Add DK to SOD and I play. I think SOD's gonna stay as the same classes we have. I don't think they're gonna add any new classes. What SOD hasn't mentioned, by the way, they're redoing the runes and classes. A lot of them are changing slots, and some will even become baseline abilities. Oh, wait, he didn't cover that? That's actually huge. Chat, Red's gonna get baseline rebuke, baseline divine storm, and then we're gonna get divine seed, and an built-in leap where you leap and it pops wing as you land. It's gonna be crazy, chat. Phase 4, Red Paladins rise up. I'm actually quitting my rogue. I'm only gonna be playing one character. It's gonna be great, boys. Only thing you're getting baseline is free way to the parking lot. I mean, fuck it, dude. I'll take that. I'll take that. Brother.